We are not sure of our position. We cannot see land. Everything is wrong. Strange. We can't be sure of any direction. Even the ocean doesn't look as it should. These were among the last words heard from Flight 19, 5 military aircraft that vanished without a trace on December 5, 1945, over a stretch of ocean that would become infamous as the Bermuda Triangle. Since then, dozens of ships and planes have allegedly disappeared in this mysterious region, spawning theories ranging from magnetic anomalies and rogue waves to alien abductions and portals to other dimensions. But here's what will shock you. The truth about the Bermuda Triangle is far more complex than either the sensationalized mystery stories or the complete dismissal suggest. We're talking about a genuine maritime challenge zone where unique geographical, meteorological, and human factors have created conditions that have claimed real vessels and real lives, while also inspiring one of the 20th century's most enduring mysteries and revealing fascinating truths about how legends are created, perpetuated, and eventually challenged by science. Welcome to History Unleashed, where we separate fact from fiction and uncover the truth behind the world's greatest mysteries. I'm your host, and today we're navigating into the heart of the Bermuda Triangle, from its origins as a journalistic invention to the real dangers that make this region genuinely hazardous. From famous disappearances to scientific explanations, from wild theories to documented facts. If you're ready to finally learn the truth about one of the ocean's most notorious mysteries, hit that subscribe button and ring the notification bell, because what we're about to discover will change everything you thought you knew about the Bermuda Triangle, revealing both why the legend persists and what actually happens in these waters. So prepare yourself for a journey into one of Earth's most mysterious regions, where reality and myth have become so tangled that separating them requires examining centuries of maritime history, decades of scientific research, and the fascinating psychology of how humans create and sustain legends about the unknown. The Bermuda Triangle as we know it today, a defined region of ocean where mysterious disappearances allegedly occur with alarming frequency, did not exist in human consciousness until surprisingly recently, despite centuries of maritime traffic through these waters and numerous documented incidents of ships and aircraft going missing in the area. The creation of the Bermuda Triangle as a distinct phenomenon represents a fascinating case study in how modern media can construct mysteries from pre-existing facts, how writers can shape public perception, and how once a narrative framework is established, it can persist for generations despite contradictory evidence. The geographic boundaries of what would become known as the Bermuda Triangle were not definitively established until the 1960s, when writers began describing a roughly triangular area bounded by Miami, Florida, San Juan, Puerto Rico, and Bermuda. This region encompasses approximately 500,000 square miles of Atlantic Ocean, though some accounts expand the boundaries to include the Gulf of Mexico, the Caribbean, and even portions of the North Atlantic far beyond the original triangle, creating inconsistency about exactly which disappearances should be attributed to the phenomenon. The term Bermuda Triangle itself was coined by Vincent Gaddis in a 1964 article for Argosy magazine titled The Deadly Bermuda Triangle, though earlier writers had described mysterious disappearances in the region without giving it a specific name. Gaddis's article brought together various incidents spanning decades and presented them as evidence of a specific danger zone, creating a narrative framework that would be elaborated by subsequent writers and become embedded in popular culture. The historical context in which the Bermuda Triangle legend emerged is crucial for understanding its appeal and persistence, as the 1960s and 1970s were periods of intense public interest in unexplained phenomena, UFOs, ancient mysteries, and challenges to conventional scientific explanations. The cultural moment favored mysterious narratives that suggested mainstream science might be missing important truths, creating a receptive audience for stories about areas where conventional physics and navigation seemed to fail. The literary antecedents to the Bermuda Triangle concept included earlier works that described mysterious disappearances at sea without attributing them to a specific geographic zone, such as accounts of the Devil's Triangle or mysterious regions where compasses behaved erratically. These earlier narratives provided raw material that writers like Gaddis would synthesize into the more specific and commercially successful Bermuda Triangle concept. The role of sensationalist journalism in creating and perpetuating the Bermuda Triangle legend cannot be overstated. As magazines and newspapers found that mysterious disappearance stories attracted readers and sold copies, creating financial incentives to emphasize mysterious aspects while downplaying mundane explanations. This commercial motivation ensured that dramatic accounts of vanished ships and planes would receive far more coverage than the numerous vessels that traversed the same waters without incident. The influence of Charles Berlitz's 1974 best-selling book The Bermuda Triangle on public perception was enormous, as this work brought together numerous disappearance accounts, proposed various theories about causes, and sold millions of copies worldwide. Berlitz's book became the definitive popular source on the triangle despite containing numerous factual errors, misleading presentations of evidence, and omissions of important contradictory information that subsequent researchers would identify and critique. Here's something that reveals how modern myths are created. From which country are you watching this? Because the Bermuda Triangle legend shows how 20th century media could create widespread belief in phenomena that might not be real, or might be greatly exaggerated. What other media-created mysteries or legends from your region demonstrate similar patterns of sensationalism, shaping public belief? Share your observations in the comments. The cultural factors that made audiences receptive to Bermuda Triangle stories included broader anxieties about technology, fears about the unknown depths of the ocean, and the psychological appeal of mysteries that suggested reality might be more complex and interesting than mundane daily experience. The triangle narrative satisfied desires for wonder and mystery while also providing satisfying explanations for tragedies that might otherwise seem random and meaningless. The evolution of the Bermuda Triangle legend over time reveals how stories can be elaborated and embellished as they pass through different tellers and media, with each iteration potentially adding new details, theories, or incidents while the core narrative structure remains constant. This evolutionary process transformed relatively straightforward maritime accidents into evidence of paranormal phenomena or advanced unknown forces. The geographic specificity of the Bermuda Triangle concept, defining exact boundaries and attributing disappearances specifically to location, rather than other factors, created a testable claim that scientists could investigate, leading eventually to the critical analysis that would challenge many of the legend's core assertions. This specificity, while making good storytelling, also made the legend vulnerable to empirical investigation. The international spread of Bermuda Triangle stories demonstrates how modern media can create global phenomena from regional incidents. As books, articles, television programs, and films about the triangle reached audiences worldwide and created international awareness of a relatively local maritime concern. This globalization of the legend contributed to its persistence and made it one of the most recognizable mysteries in modern culture. Competing narratives that emerged about the Bermuda Triangle, ranging from complete acceptance of its mysterious nature to total dismissal of any unusual phenomena, created a polarized discourse that made middle ground positions difficult to maintain, even though the truth likely lies somewhere between the extremes of "nothing unusual happens here" and "this is a uniquely dangerous supernatural zone." The catalog of disappearances attributed to the Bermuda Triangle includes dozens of vessels and aircraft, though the exact number varies depending on which incidents are counted and how the triangle's boundaries are defined. These disappearances range from well-documented cases with substantial evidence to poorly recorded incidents where basic facts are disputed, and from events that remain genuinely mysterious to those with clear explanations that have been overlooked or deliberately ignored by triangle proponents. The disappearance of Flight 19 on December 5, 1945, represents the single most famous and influential Bermuda Triangle incident, as this case involved 5 U.S. Navy Avenger torpedo bombers that vanished during a routine training mission, along with a Martin Mariner flying boat sent to search for them. The dramatic circumstances, the radio communications suggesting confusion and disorientation, and the failure to locate any wreckage made this case seem particularly mysterious and helped establish the template for subsequent triangle narratives. The details of the Flight 19 incident reveal both genuinely puzzling aspects and elements that have been sensationalized or misrepresented in popular accounts. The flight's leader, Lieutenant Charles Taylor, became disoriented and believed his compasses were malfunctioning, leading him to make navigation decisions that took the aircraft farther from land rather than toward safety. Weather conditions deteriorated during the flight, with rough seas and poor visibility that would have made a water landing extremely dangerous and would have complicated search efforts. The radio communications from Flight 19, while often presented as describing inexplicable phenomena, actually suggest more mundane problems: compass malfunction or misreading, disorientation, deteriorating weather, and the consequences of flying over open ocean without clear visual references. Taylor's statements about everything looking wrong and not being certain of position are consistent with spatial disorientation, a well-documented aviation hazard that has claimed numerous aircraft throughout history. The loss of the Martin Mariner search plane, while adding to the mysterious atmosphere surrounding Flight 19, actually has a probable explanation that triangle proponents often ignore. These aircraft were nicknamed flying gas tanks due to their tendency to leak fuel vapors and were known to be vulnerable to explosions. A ship reported seeing a mid-air explosion in the search area at approximately the time the Mariner would have been operating there, suggesting the aircraft was destroyed in a fuel vapor explosion rather than vanishing mysteriously. The USS Cyclops disappearance in March 1918 represents one of the largest losses of life in U.S. Navy history not directly related to combat, as this massive cargo ship carrying over 300 personnel vanished without sending a distress signal while traveling from Barbados to Baltimore. The complete absence of wreckage or survivors has made this case particularly intriguing to triangle proponents, who present it as evidence of mysterious forces capable of completely destroying large vessels without warning. The probable explanations for the Cyclops loss that have been proposed by researchers include structural failure due to overloading and rough seas, capsizing in a storm, or internal explosion from unstable cargo, any of which could have sunk the ship rapidly enough to prevent distress calls. The ship was carrying heavy cargo of manganese ore, was known to have structural issues, and was traveling through an area that could experience sudden, severe weather, making conventional maritime disaster explanations more plausible than paranormal theories. The disappearance of the cargo ship SS Marine Sulphur Queen in February 1963 involved a vessel with known structural problems transporting molten sulfur, a hazardous cargo that could have caused catastrophic failure. Despite these obvious risk factors, triangle proponents have cited this case as mysteriously unexplained, demonstrating how conventional explanations are sometimes ignored or minimized when they don't support the mystery narrative. Here's something that shows how cases are cherry-picked to support mystery narratives. From which country are you watching this? Because many mysteries worldwide are sustained by selective presentation of evidence that emphasizes inexplicable cases while ignoring or downplaying those with clear explanations. What examples can you think of from your region where mysterious phenomena are supported through selective evidence? Share your thoughts in the comments. The small aircraft and pleasure boat disappearances that make up a significant portion of triangle cases often involve vessels that were inadequately equipped, operated by inexperienced crews, or caught in sudden severe weather. Factors that would explain their loss without invoking unusual phenomena. The triangle legend tends to treat all disappearances as equally mysterious, when in fact many have readily apparent conventional explanations. The pattern of embellishment and inaccuracy in how triangle incidents are reported has been documented by skeptical researchers who have traced cases back to original sources and found significant discrepancies between what actually happened and how events are portrayed in triangle literature. These discrepancies include cases that occurred outside the triangle being counted as triangle disappearances, vessels that were found or explained being listed as mysteriously vanished, and basic facts about weather, vessel condition, or circumstances being altered to make cases seem more mysterious. The statistical analysis of disappearances in the Bermuda Triangle region, compared to other heavily trafficked maritime areas, has been conducted by various researchers and generally finds no unusual pattern when accounting for the volume of traffic passing through the area. The triangle encompasses busy shipping lanes and flight paths connecting North America with the Caribbean and South America, meaning that the absolute number of incidents would be expected to be relatively high, even if the rate of incidents per vessel passage is normal. The role of salvage operations and wreck location in resolving triangle mysteries has been significant, as several cases considered mysterious have been solved when wreckage was eventually located and examined. The difficulty of finding wreckage in deep ocean waters means that vessels can be missing for years or decades before being found, and the absence of located wreckage does not necessarily indicate mysterious circumstances, but rather reflects the challenges of deep-sea search operations. The human cost of Bermuda Triangle disappearances, the hundreds of people who have lost their lives in incidents attributed to the Triangle, tends to be overshadowed by the sensational mystery aspects, though these real tragedies deserve respectful treatment that acknowledges the genuine maritime dangers of the region, without sensationalizing or mythologizing the circumstances of loss. The supernatural and paranormal explanations proposed for Bermuda Triangle disappearances represent some of the most imaginative and culturally revealing aspects of the phenomenon, as these theories reflect both the limits of public understanding about science and technology, and the enduring human tendency to attribute unexplained events to mysterious forces beyond conventional natural laws. These theories have ranged from relatively modest claims about unusual but natural phenomena to wild speculations about alien intervention, time portals, and lost civilizations. The Atlantis connection theory proposes that ancient advanced technology from the lost civilization of Atlantis, supposedly located in the Atlantic Ocean, somehow causes modern aircraft and ships to malfunction or disappear. This theory, popularized by various writers including Charles Berlitz, suggests that crystal power sources or other Atlantean devices continue to function beneath the ocean, creating energy fields or forces that interfere with navigation equipment and propulsion systems. The extraterrestrial theories about the Bermuda Triangle have taken various forms, including suggestions that aliens are kidnapping ships and planes for study, that underwater alien bases exist in the region, or that UFOs are responsible for disappearances through unknown technological means. These theories gained popularity during the UFO enthusiasm of the 1960s and 1970s, and continue to have advocates who interpret triangle incidents as evidence of alien presence on Earth. The time portal or dimensional gateway theories propose that the Bermuda Triangle contains some kind of opening to other dimensions, time periods, or parallel universes through which vessels accidentally pass, explaining their sudden disappearance without physical wreckage. These theories draw on science fiction concepts about wormholes and parallel dimensions while applying them to real maritime incidents in ways that conflate fictional possibilities with actual explanations. The lost civilization technology theories extend beyond Atlantis to include various proposals about ancient, advanced cultures that supposedly possessed capabilities exceeding modern technology and left behind devices or installations that continue to affect the Triangle region. These theories often incorporate elements from various mythologies and speculative histories while lacking any archaeological or physical evidence to support their claims. The supernatural entity theories suggest that ghosts, demons, or other spiritual beings inhabit the Triangle and cause vessels to disappear through supernatural means. These theories draw on traditional maritime superstitions and folklore about haunted waters, while applying them specifically to the Triangle region, creating narratives that blend modern incidents with ancient belief systems about malevolent spiritual forces. The crystal pyramid theory, proposed by various writers based on alleged sonar readings and psychic visions, claims that massive crystal or glass pyramids exist on the ocean floor in the Triangle region and emit mysterious energies that cause disappearances. This theory has been thoroughly debunked by oceanographers who have found no evidence of such structures, yet it continues to circulate in Triangle literature and online discussions. Here's something that reveals how pseudoscience mimics real science. From which country are you watching this? Because many paranormal theories use scientific-sounding language and concepts while lacking the evidence and methodology that characterize genuine science. What examples of pseudoscientific explanations can you think of from your region that use scientific terminology to sound credible? Share your observations in the comments. The magnetic anomaly theories, while sometimes presenting themselves as scientific explanations, often include supernatural or unexplained elements that place them in the realm of paranormal speculation, rather than testable scientific hypotheses. Claims about unusual magnetic fields strong enough to cause compasses to malfunction or aircraft to crash lack support from actual magnetic surveys of the region. The underwater City theories propose that lost civilizations built underwater structures in the Triangle region that somehow continue to function and cause disappearances, combining archaeological speculation with supernatural causation in ways that lack evidential support. These theories often cite the Bimini Road, a natural rock formation off the Bahamas, as evidence of ancient construction, despite geological studies showing it to be a natural feature. The cultural factors that make supernatural triangle theories appealing include the desire for explanations that make tragedies seem less random and meaningless, the excitement of believing that reality includes mysterious forces beyond conventional understanding, and the rejection of scientific authority by those who feel excluded from or suspicious of mainstream scientific institutions and explanations. The role of confirmation bias in perpetuating supernatural theories has been significant, as believers tend to focus on incidents that seem to support their theories, while ignoring or dismissing contradictory evidence and conventional explanations.
This selective attention to evidence allows supernatural theories to
persist despite the lack of scientific support and the existence of better explanations for triangle incidents. The commercial exploitation of supernatural triangle theories through books, documentaries, tourism, and merchandise has created financial incentives for continuing to promote mysterious explanations, even as scientific evidence undermines them. The entertainment value of supernatural theories makes them more marketable than technical discussions of meteorology, ocean currents, and human error. The psychological appeal of supernatural theories relates to fundamental human needs for wonder, mystery, and meaning in a world that can seem mundane or comprehensible through science. The Triangle offers an opportunity to believe in something beyond conventional reality, satisfying desires for magic and mystery that modern scientific worldviews might not fully address. The scientific investigation of Bermuda Triangle incidents has revealed numerous natural phenomena and human factors that can explain disappearances without invoking paranormal forces or unknown physics, demonstrating that while the Triangle region does present genuine maritime challenges, these challenges are well understood and not unique to this particular area. The accumulation of scientific evidence about Triangle incidents has created a strong case that conventional explanations are sufficient to account for the documented losses without requiring mysterious additional factors. The meteorological factors that make the Bermuda Triangle region genuinely hazardous include its location in a zone where multiple weather systems interact, creating conditions favorable for sudden severe storms, waterspouts, and extreme wind and wave conditions that can overwhelm vessels. The Gulf Stream passes through the Triangle, creating complex interactions between air masses that can produce rapidly developing storms with little warning, catching mariners and aviators unprepared. The tropical storm and hurricane activity in the Triangle region represents a well-documented and serious danger, as this area lies in the Atlantic hurricane belt and experiences numerous storms each year during hurricane season. Historical records show that many Triangle disappearances occurred during or shortly after storm activity, suggesting that severe weather is a far more likely explanation than paranormal phenomena for at least some of the losses. The waterspout phenomenon in the Triangle area is particularly significant, as these violent rotating columns of water can form rapidly and present extreme danger to small boats and low-flying aircraft. Waterspouts are essentially tornadoes over water and can reach wind speeds sufficient to destroy small vessels or aircraft, while their sudden formation and dissipation make them difficult to predict and avoid, creating conditions where vessels could be destroyed without prior warning. The rogue wave phenomenon represents another genuine oceanographic hazard in the Triangle region, as these massive waves can form suddenly due to the interaction of different wave systems, the focusing effect of ocean currents like the Gulf Stream, and other factors. Rogue waves can reach heights of 100 feet or more and have been documented by scientific instruments, providing a plausible explanation for sudden ship sinkings without distress. The methane hydrate theory proposes that massive releases of methane gas from deposits on the ocean floor could reduce water density, enough to cause ships to suddenly sink, while released methane in the atmosphere could cause aircraft engines to fail. While this theory has some scientific basis, as methane hydrates do exist on ocean floors worldwide, there is no evidence that such releases occur with sufficient frequency or magnitude in the Triangle to account for disappearances. And this phenomenon would not be unique to this region. Compass variation phenomenon that has been cited as evidence of Triangle mysteries actually reflects well-understood magnetic declination, effects that occur globally. The Triangle region does have areas where magnetic north and true north align, potentially causing confusion for navigators unfamiliar with the difference, but this is a normal geographic feature that can be accounted for with proper navigation training and does not represent unusual physics or magnetic anomalies. Here's something that shows how scientific understanding eliminates mystery. From which country are you watching this? Because many phenomena that seemed mysterious or supernatural have been explained by advancing scientific knowledge and investigation. What examples can you think of from your region where scientific progress has explained previously mysterious phenomena? Share your thoughts in the comments. The human error factors in triangle incidents include navigation mistakes, poor weather judgment, inadequate preparation, equipment failure, and the psychological effects of stress and fatigue on decision-making. Analysis of many triangle cases reveals that human mistakes played crucial roles in creating conditions where accidents became disasters, demonstrating that even experienced mariners and pilots can make fatal errors under challenging conditions. The search and rescue challenges in the Triangle region relate to the depth of the ocean, which can exceed 20,000 feet in some areas, the strong Gulf Stream current that can carry wreckage far from the site of loss, and the vast expanse of ocean that must be searched. These factors mean that vessels can sink without trace, not because they mysteriously vanished, but because finding small wreckage in enormous areas of deep ocean is extremely difficult. The statistical analysis conducted by various researchers, including the U.S. Coast Guard and insurance companies like Lloyd's of London, has consistently found that the Bermuda Triangle does not have a higher rate of incidents per vessel passage than other heavily trafficked maritime regions. When the volume of commercial shipping, pleasure craft, and aircraft transiting the area is considered, the number of incidents appears entirely normal and requires no special explanation. The technological improvements in navigation, communication, and weather forecasting have significantly reduced the rate of unexplained losses in the Triangle region since the 1970s, suggesting that many historical incidents resulted from limitations in technology and knowledge rather than mysterious environmental factors. Modern GPS, satellite communications, and sophisticated weather monitoring have made navigation safer throughout the world's oceans, including the Triangle. The role of confirmation bias in perpetuating the Triangle mystery despite scientific evidence has been significant, as Triangle proponents tend to focus on incidents that lack clear explanations, while ignoring the many cases where conventional causes have been identified. This selective attention to evidence allows the mystery to persist in popular culture even as scientific consensus has rejected the idea of unusual triangle phenomena. The
media responsibility in promoting scientific
understanding versus sensationalist mystery has been mixed, with some outlets presenting balanced coverage that includes scientific explanations, while others continue to emphasize mysterious aspects because they attract audiences. The tension between entertainment value and educational responsibility remains a challenge in how triangle stories are presented to the public. The systematic investigation and debunking of Bermuda Triangle claims by skeptical researchers, scientists, and journalists has revealed that many of the cases cited as evidence of mysterious phenomena either have conventional explanations that were ignored or minimized, involved errors of fact or interpretation, or in some instances never occurred as described. This debunking effort, while not receiving as much public attention as sensationalist triangle stories, has been crucial for establishing a more accurate understanding of what actually happens in this region. The investigative journalism conducted by Lawrence David Couchet and documented in his 1975 book The Bermuda Triangle Mystery Solved represents the most comprehensive early debunking effort, as Couchet systematically researched the original sources for triangle disappearances and found numerous cases where popular accounts diverged significantly from documented facts. His research revealed vessels that supposedly vanished mysteriously actually sank in storms, cases that occurred far outside the Triangle being counted as triangle incidents, and some alleged disappearances that never actually occurred. The specific factual errors identified by Couchet and subsequent researchers include cases where vessels were said to have vanished in calm weather when meteorological records showed severe storms in the area, disappearances attributed to the triangle that actually occurred thousands of miles away, and incidents described as mysterious and unexplained when official investigations had identified clear causes. These errors reveal either careless research or deliberate misrepresentation by triangle proponents. The U.S. Coast Guard's official position on the Bermuda Triangle, stated in various documents and publications, is that the region does not present unusual dangers and that the number of incidents is not disproportionate to the amount of traffic. The Coast Guard's extensive experience conducting search and rescue operations throughout the Triangle region gives its assessment considerable credibility despite the organization's less dramatic conclusions compared to mystery narratives. The insurance industry perspective on the Bermuda Triangle is similarly dismissive of unusual dangers, as Lloyd's of London and other major maritime insurers do not charge higher premiums for vessels transiting the Triangle region. This economic reality demonstrates that organizations with significant financial interest in accurately assessing maritime risks do not consider the Triangle to present special hazards, suggesting that any unusual phenomena either don't exist or don't materially affect risk levels. The scientific community consensus regarding the Bermuda Triangle is that no credible evidence supports the existence of unusual phenomena in the region, and conventional explanations involving weather, human error, and normal maritime hazards adequately account for documented incidents. This consensus is based on extensive research by oceanographers, meteorologists, and other specialists who have studied the region and its characteristics. The debunking of specific famous cases has been particularly effective in undermining triangle mythology, as detailed investigation of the incidents that form the foundation of the legend has revealed conventional explanations. The Flight 19 case, when examined thoroughly, shows human error and bad weather rather than mysterious forces. The Cyclops likely sank due to structural failure and overloading, and many other famous cases have similar prosaic explanations. Here's something that shows how myths persist despite being debunked. From which country are you watching this? Because many urban legends, conspiracy theories, and false beliefs continue to circulate, even after being thoroughly disproven by credible evidence. What examples can you think of from your region where debunked myths continue to be believed? Share your observations in the comments. The media literacy issues that allow debunked triangle claims to persist include the tendency for sensational stories to spread more widely and be remembered better than corrections, the entertainment value of mystery narratives compared to factual explanations, and the confirmation bias that leads believers to reject contradictory evidence. These factors create situations where debunking efforts, however thorough, may not reach or convince the audiences who have embraced triangle mythology. The role of the internet in both spreading and debunking triangle claims has been complex, as online platforms allow both sensationalist content and skeptical analysis to reach global audiences. While some websites promote discredited triangle theories, others provide detailed debunking information, with access to primary sources and scientific research that was previously difficult for general audiences to access. The psychological resistance to debunking that some triangle believers exhibit reflects the broader phenomenon of worldview defense, where people protect cherished beliefs against contradictory evidence because abandoning those beliefs would require admitting error and giving up the emotional satisfaction the beliefs provided. Understanding this resistance helps explain why debunking efforts, however well documented, may not convince committed believers. The continued commercial exploitation of triangle mythology despite thorough debunking demonstrates how entertainment and profit motives can sustain discredited narratives as books, television shows, and tourist attractions continue to promote mysterious triangle stories because they attract customers. This commercial perpetuation of debunked claims makes it difficult for accurate information to completely replace the sensational mythology. The educational responsibility of media outlets, schools, and cultural institutions to present accurate information about the triangle competes with the desire to provide entertaining content, creating tensions between truth-telling and audience engagement. The most responsible approaches present both the legendary aspects and the scientific reality, allowing audiences to understand both why the myth emerged and why it doesn't reflect actual unusual phenomena. While the supernatural and paranormal claims about the Bermuda Triangle have been thoroughly debunked, the region does present genuine maritime hazards that make it challenging and potentially dangerous for vessels and aircraft. demonstrating that dismissing all triangle concerns as myth would be as inaccurate as accepting supernatural explanations. Understanding the real dangers helps explain why incidents occur in this region while maintaining a reality-based perspective that doesn't invoke mysterious forces. The Gulf Stream current that flows through the Bermuda Triangle represents one of the most significant navigational challenges in the region, as this powerful ocean current can reach speeds of 5 to 6 knots and flows northward along the eastern seaboard before curving eastward toward Europe. The Gulf Stream can carry vessels and wreckage far from their expected positions, making search and rescue operations more difficult and potentially explaining why some lost vessels are never found despite extensive searches. The complex weather patterns in the Triangle region result from the interaction of multiple atmospheric systems, including tropical air masses from the Caribbean, temperate systems from North America, and the moderating influence of the Gulf Stream on local conditions. These interactions can create rapidly developing storms, sudden wind shifts, and dangerous sea states that present real hazards to marine and air traffic. The sudden storm development in the Triangle area is particularly hazardous, as conditions can deteriorate from calm to dangerous in matters of hours, potentially catching vessels and aircraft unprepared for severe weather. The combination of warm ocean waters, atmospheric instability, and the energy available from the Gulf Stream creates conditions favorable for rapid storm intensification that can overwhelm even experienced mariners. The shallow water and reef hazards in portions of the Triangle, particularly near the Bahamas and Caribbean islands, present navigational dangers that have claimed numerous vessels throughout history. These shallow areas and coral reefs can damage or destroy vessels that run aground, while the fragmented geography of the region with numerous islands and cays creates complex navigation challenges. The deep ocean trenches in other portions of the Triangle, including the Puerto Rico Trench, which reaches depths exceeding 28,000 feet, mean that vessels sinking in these areas may never be recovered or even located with current technology. The extreme depths make underwater searches extraordinarily difficult and expensive, explaining why some incidents remain unsolved, not due to mysterious circumstances, but due to the practical challenges of deep-sea investigation. The heavy traffic density in the Bermuda Triangle region, including major shipping lanes connecting the eastern United States with South America and the Caribbean, numerous cruise ship routes, heavy recreational boating activity, and significant air traffic, means that the absolute number of incidents would be expected to be relatively high, even if the rate per passage is normal. This traffic density also increases the risk of collisions and other accidents involving multiple vessels. The specific seasonal hazards in the Triangle include the Atlantic hurricane season from June through November, when tropical storms and hurricanes frequently pass through or form in the region. Historical analysis shows that many Triangle disappearances occurred during hurricane season, suggesting that these powerful storms account for at least some of the losses attributed to mysterious causes. Here's something that shows how real dangers can be obscured by sensationalism. From which country are you watching this? Because focusing on mysterious explanations for accidents can distract from addressing the actual hazards that cause those accidents. What examples can you think of from your region where sensationalism about dangers has obscured practical safety concerns? Share your thoughts in the comments. The aircraft-specific hazards in the Triangle region include turbulence associated with tropical weather systems, icing conditions at higher altitudes despite the generally warm surface temperatures, and the challenges of overwater navigation where visual references are limited, and navigation errors can have fatal consequences. These factors make the Triangle region challenging for aviation, while not requiring mysterious explanations for aircraft losses. The small vessel vulnerabilities in the Triangle are significant, as pleasure boats and small commercial vessels may not have the structural strength, stability, or equipment necessary to survive the severe weather conditions that can develop in the region. Many Triangle incidents have involved small vessels operated by inexperienced crews who underestimated the hazards or were caught unprepared by rapidly deteriorating conditions. The communication challenges in the Triangle region, while greatly improved by modern satellite technology, historically meant that vessels in distress might not be able to call for help or indicate their position before sinking. The vast ocean expanses and limited range of radio communications before satellite systems meant that vessels could sink without anyone knowing they were in trouble. The search and rescue Resources available for triangle incidents, while substantial given the U.S. Coast Guard's presence and capabilities, are still limited relative to the vast area that must be covered. Even with modern technology, finding small wreckage or survivors in hundreds of thousands of square miles of ocean remains extremely challenging, and many searches are called off before all possible areas have been thoroughly examined. The human factors that contribute to triangle incidents include overconfidence, inadequate preparation, failure to monitor weather conditions, navigation errors, and equipment failures that might be prevented with better training and maintenance. Addressing these human factors would likely do more to improve safety in the Triangle region than focusing on debunking or promoting supernatural theories. The Bermuda Triangle legend's influence on popular culture has been enormous and enduring, inspiring countless books, films, television shows, video games, and other media that have introduced the Triangle to global audiences and ensured its place as one of the modern world's most recognizable mysteries. This cultural impact extends far beyond the actual maritime region to encompass broader themes about human vulnerability, the limits of knowledge, and the appeal of unsolved mysteries. That the literary legacy of the Bermuda Triangle includes hundreds of books ranging from sensationalist accounts that promote supernatural theories to skeptical investigations that debunk those theories. From fiction that uses the triangle as a setting or plot device to academic analyses of how the legend developed and spread, this body of literature has made the triangle one of the most extensively discussed maritime mysteries in publishing history. The film and television treatments of the Bermuda Triangle have ranged from documentary investigations to science fiction adventures, from serious attempts to explain the phenomenon to campy B-movies that embrace the most outlandish theories. These visual media have been particularly influential in shaping public perception of the Triangle, as dramatic reenactments and mysterious imagery create powerful impressions that may be more memorable than factual information. The influence of the Bermuda Triangle on the broader mystery and paranormal genre has been significant, as the Triangle template, a defined geographic area where mysterious disappearances supposedly occur, has been applied to other regions including the Dragon's Triangle in the Pacific, the Michigan Triangle in the Great Lakes, and various other locations that have been promoted as similarly mysterious. This proliferation of triangle-inspired mysteries demonstrates the commercial success and cultural resonance of the original Bermuda Triangle concept. The tourism industry in the Bermuda Triangle region has developed mixed relationships with the legend, as some businesses promote triangle mystique to attract tourists, while others worry that emphasizing mysterious disappearances might discourage visitors. Bermuda itself has generally downplayed the Triangle legend while emphasizing the island's safety and beauty, though some tour operators offer triangle-themed excursions that acknowledge the legend while explaining scientific realities. The educational uses of the Bermuda Triangle as a case study in critical thinking, media literacy, and the scientific method have been significant, as the Triangle provides an excellent example of how legends develop, how evidence can be misrepresented, how to distinguish credible from dubious sources, and how scientific investigation can debunk claims that seem mysteriously compelling. Many educators use triangle stories to teach these important analytical skills to students at various levels. The video game industry has incorporated Bermuda Triangle themes into numerous titles, ranging from adventure games where players investigate disappearances to strategy games where the triangle represents a dangerous zone to avoid or exploit. These gaming applications demonstrate the triangle's cultural penetration and its usefulness as a readily recognizable setting that requires minimal explanation to establish mysterious or dangerous atmospheres. The influence of the Bermuda Triangle on art and music has been more limited but still notable, with various artists incorporating triangle imagery or themes into visual works, songs, and performances that explore mystery, danger, and the unknown. The triangle serves as a recognizable symbol that artists can use to evoke particular moods or ideas, without extensive explanation. The conspiracy theory connections to the Bermuda Triangle have linked it to broader narratives about government cover-ups, alien activity, and hidden knowledge, as some triangle proponents suggest that authorities deliberately suppress evidence of unusual phenomena, or that mysterious disappearances are connected to secret military activities or extraterrestrial presence. These conspiracy frameworks demonstrate how the Triangle legend can be integrated into larger systems of alternative belief. Here's something that shows how cultural phenomena outlive their factual basis. And from which country are you watching this? Because many legends and mysteries continue to influence culture long after they've been debunked or explained, showing the power of compelling narratives over dry facts. What other debunked mysteries or legends from your region continue to influence popular culture despite being disproven? Share your observations in the comments. The generational transmission of Bermuda Triangle beliefs demonstrates how legends can persist across multiple generations through family storytelling, educational systems that may present outdated information, and popular culture that continues to reference the triangle without always acknowledging scientific debunking. Younger generations may encounter triangle stories without the context that would help them evaluate the claims. Critically, the role of the Bermuda Triangle in shaping public attitudes toward science and expertise has been complex, as the legend has been used both to challenge scientific authority by those who see it as evidence that mainstream science misses important phenomena, and to demonstrate the importance of scientific investigation by skeptics who use triangle debunking as an example of how careful research reveals truth. This dual use makes the triangle a contested symbol in broader debates about knowledge and authority. The commercialization of Bermuda Triangle imagery and branding has created a lucrative market for triangle-themed merchandise, with the mystery's name and imagery appearing on everything from t-shirts to keychains to restaurant themes. This commercial exploitation ensures the triangle remains visible in popular culture even as serious discussion of it as a genuine mystery has declined. The internet meme culture surrounding the Bermuda Triangle has given the legend new life among younger demographics, who may treat it more as humorous cultural reference than a serious mystery, with jokes about things disappearing in the Bermuda Triangle, used to explain lost items or missing people in everyday contexts. This mimetic use demonstrates cultural persistence even when literal belief has declined. The comparative mythology, studies that examine the Bermuda Triangle alongside other cultural narratives about dangerous places, cursed regions, or areas where normal rules don't apply reveal universal human tendencies to create and maintain such stories. The triangle fits patterns found in folklore worldwide, suggesting that its appeal taps into deep psychological and cultural needs that transcend specific factual claims. The comprehensive examination of Bermuda Triangle claims, incidents, and explanations leads to a clear conclusion supported by scientific evidence, statistical analysis, and thorough investigation of individual cases. The Bermuda Triangle does not represent an area of unusual danger or mysterious phenomena that requires extraordinary explanations beyond conventional maritime hazards, weather conditions, and human factors. While this conclusion may seem anticlimactic compared to dramatic mystery narratives, it represents a triumph of scientific investigation over sensationalism and demonstrates the importance of careful evidence evaluation. The statistical evidence that definitively undermines Bermuda Triangle mythology comes from analyses by the U.S. Coast Guard, insurance industry data, and independent researchers who have compared incident rates in the Triangle to other heavily trafficked maritime regions. These analyses consistently show that when adjusted for traffic volume, the Triangle has no higher rate of incidents than comparable areas, demonstrating that the perception of unusual danger results from selective attention to Triangle incidents while ignoring similar incidents elsewhere in the many uneventful passages through the Triangle. The investigative journalism that exposed errors and misrepresentations in Triangle literature, particularly Lawrence David Cush's systematic research, has been crucial in establishing the factual record about what actually happened in alleged Triangle cases. By tracing incidents to original sources and comparing popular accounts with documented facts, researchers have shown that many Triangle cases either have clear conventional explanations that were ignored or involve significant factual errors that made normal incidents seem mysterious. The scientific consensus about the Bermuda Triangle, reflecting the views of oceanographers, meteorologists, geophysicists, and other relevant specialists, holds that no credible evidence supports the existence of unusual phenomena in the region, and that conventional factors adequately explain documented incidents. This consensus is based on extensive research and monitoring of the region that would have detected genuine anomalies if they existed. The persistence of the Bermuda Triangle legend despite thorough debunking, reveals important insights about how misinformation spreads and persists, how cognitive biases affect belief formation, and how commercial and entertainment interests can sustain narratives that lack factual support. Understanding why the triangle myth persists despite evidence against it helps explain other instances where false beliefs resist correction through facts and logic. Lessons learned from the Bermuda Triangle phenomenon about media literacy, critical thinking, and evidence evaluation remain relevant for navigating contemporary information environments where sensationalism, misinformation, and conspiracy theories compete with factual reporting. The Triangle provides a well-documented case study that can help people develop skills for distinguishing credible from dubious claims across various topics. The real dangers of the Bermuda Triangle region: severe weather, strong currents, complex navigation challenges, and the vast ocean expanses that make search and rescue difficult, deserve serious attention and appropriate safety measures without being obscured by sensational mystery narratives. Focusing on actual hazards rather than imaginary ones better serves maritime safety and helps mariners and aviators prepare appropriately for the genuine challenges they may face. Here's the fundamental truth about the Bermuda Triangle. From which country are you watching this? Because the Triangle teaches us that sometimes the truth is less dramatic than the legend, but understanding reality serves us better than believing in comfortable myths. What other examples can you think of where scientific reality is less exciting than the myth, but more useful for actually understanding the world? Share your final thoughts in the comments. The future of the Bermuda Triangle legend will likely involve continued presence in popular culture, alongside declining belief in its literal reality, as the Triangle transitions from active mystery to historical curiosity and cultural reference. New generations may encounter Triangle stories primarily as entertainment, or as examples of how myths develop, rather than as genuine unsolved mysteries requiring investigation. The broader implications of the Bermuda Triangle case study extend to how societies evaluate extraordinary claims, how media shapes public perception, and how scientific investigation can effectively address popular misconceptions. The Triangle demonstrates both the power of compelling narratives to create widespread belief and the ability of systematic investigation to reveal truth despite that belief. The responsibility of content creators, educators, and media outlets to present accurate information about the Bermuda Triangle while acknowledging its cultural significance requires balancing truth-telling with recognition of why people find the legend appealing. The most responsible approaches provide both the factual reality and the cultural context that explains the legend's development and persistence. The personal responsibility of individuals to evaluate claims critically, seek reliable sources, and update beliefs based on evidence rather than defending comfortable misconceptions applies to the Bermuda Triangle as to other contested claims. The Triangle case study demonstrates why these critical thinking skills matter and how they can be applied to distinguish fact from fiction. The ultimate verdict on the Bermuda Triangle is clear. It is a cultural phenomenon based on selective reporting, misrepresentation of facts, and natural human tendencies to find patterns and seek mysterious explanations for tragic events. While the region presents genuine maritime challenges, these are well understood and not unique to this particular area. The Triangle's persistence as a legend demonstrates the power of storytelling and the human love of mystery, but scientific evidence firmly rejects claims of unusual phenomena, requiring extraordinary explanations. As we navigate our way out of the Bermuda Triangle and back to the safety of solid ground and reliable facts, we carry with us a story that reveals as much about human nature as it does about oceanography. A story about how legends are born, how they spread, and why they persist even when science has thoroughly explained the reality behind the mystery. We've discovered that the Bermuda Triangle, while genuinely presenting some maritime challenges, is not the supernatural death zone that decades of sensationalist coverage made it out to be. The disappearances that sparked the legend have conventional explanations involving weather, human error, and the normal hazards of ocean navigation. The statistical evidence shows no unusual danger. The scientific community has reached clear consensus, yet the legend persists in popular culture, demonstrating the enduring power of a good mystery story. Perhaps the most important Lesson from the Bermuda Triangle is about how we evaluate extraordinary claims and process information in an age of media saturation. The triangle shows us how selective presentation of facts, confirmation bias, and the commercial appeal of mystery can create widespread belief in phenomena that don't actually exist. It reminds us to question dramatic claims, seek original sources, and apply critical thinking even to stories that seem compelling or widely accepted. But let's also acknowledge what makes the Triangle legend so appealing. The romance of maritime mystery, the thrill of the unknown, the comfort of believing that reality might be more interesting and mysterious than mundane explanations suggest. There's nothing wrong with enjoying mystery stories, as long as we can distinguish between entertaining narratives and actual facts that should guide our understanding of the world. If you've appreciated this deep dive into one of the 20th century's most famous mysteries, make sure you're subscribed to History Unleashed and hit that notification bell, because we're committed to separating fact from fiction and revealing the truth behind the legends that capture public imagination. What's your take on the Bermuda Triangle after learning the facts? Do you think mysteries like this serve a useful cultural purpose even when they're not factually true? Have you ever believed in something that later turned out to be based on misinformation or selective evidence? Share your honest reflections in the comments below, and let me know what other famous mysteries you'd like us to investigate with the same critical lens. Remember, the truth may not always be as dramatic as the legend, but understanding reality gives us real power. The power to navigate safely, to think clearly, and to distinguish between genuine mysteries worth investigating and manufactured ones that distract us from the actual wonders and challenges our world presents. This is History Unleashed, where we follow the evidence wherever it leads, even when it leads away from comfortable myths and towards sometimes uncomfortable truths. Because in the end, reality is always more valuable than fantasy, and truth always serves us better than legend.